From our last episode, we saw how Jacob finally agreed to allow Benjamin go with his brothers down to Egypt. And today we shall find out what becomes of Benjamin afterwards. We are reading our Bible from Genesis chapter 43 from verse 15 to 34. And we saw from this passage of the Bible that immediately Jacob their father gave his permission, they, his children, took the governor's gift, carried double amount of money with them. Also, they went with Benjamin and hurried down to Egypt and present themselves to Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he told the steward of his house to take every one of them to his house, slay animal, and prepare food, for they are to eat with him at noon. His steward did as Joseph commanded. He took them to Joseph's house. When they got to Joseph's house, they were so afraid. They thought Joseph, the governor, gave this order because of the money that was put back into their bags the first time they went to buy food in Egypt. So they all spoke to Joseph Seward at the entrance of the house and explained how they found their monies right inside their bags after making payment for the food they bought. Joseph's steward told them to fear not, for their God and the God of their father had given them treasure in their bags. He told them he had their money. He then brought out Simeon to them. After the steward brought them into the house, he gave them water to wash their feet and gave provender to their donkeys. Joseph's brother prepared their gift for Joseph because they heard that they were to eat there at noon. So apparently, they knew that Joseph would be arriving at noon. When Joseph came in, his brothers bowed down before him and presented the gift to him. He asked them how they were doing and also asked how was their father doing. He asked them if their father was still alive. They answered that their father was still alive. And while they were talking to Joseph, they bowed down their heads to him. Joseph lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and he asked, "Is this your younger brother you talked about?" He told Benjamin, "God be gracious to you, my son." Joseph became deeply moved at the sight of his brother. He hurried out, looked for a place, and wept. He went into his private room and wept there. After weeping, he washed his face, came out, controlled himself, and said, "Serve the food." Joseph's food was served separately. His brother's food was also served separately. And the Egyptians who ate food with them at noon were served separately as well. The reason is because it is an abomination for the Egyptians and the Hebrew to eat together. So Joseph's brothers sat before him according to their birthright. That is, from the firstborn to the youngest. And all of them were surprised. When portion of food were served to them from Joseph's table, Benjamin's portion of food was 5 times as much as anyone else's. So they feasted and drank freely with Joseph. The story continues.